Thank you, Munji. That was an amazing talk, as we thought. It really brought back memories to see those old transparencies. So when I started this process, I thought I was an accomplished person. And then I started seeing the backgrounds of some of these candidates, and I realized what accomplishment really means. So the next speaker I'm going to introduce is another one of these truly accomplished people, Jason Hartlove. Jason is Meta's VP for Display and Optics. He's responsible for delivering complete display systems for Meta's next generation of AR products, which blend real and virtual worlds. He leads a cross-functional global organization within Reality Labs, comprising teams specializing in image science, image processing, semiconductors, light engines, optics, and a lot of other stuff. He's a technology executive with over 35 years of experience introducing optical systems and technologies to market. Most recently, he was CEO of Nanosys, where he pioneered QD technology for displays, shipping over 60 million units across 800 product SKUs, leading to the acquisition by Shoei Chemical. Prior to that, he led product development teams at HP, was a VP at Agilent's CMOS Image Sensor Solutions Unit, founding EVP at Magnachip Semiconductor, worked on display drivers and CMOS image sensors. He received SID's David Sarnoff Prize in 2023 and the Bill Hewlett Award in 2005 while he was at Agilent. He is a prolific inventor named on over 100 patents, including the very widely used optical mouse. He holds a BSEE from UCLA. Please join me in welcoming Jason.
All right, we're waiting. Do we have the prompter? Do we not have the prompter today? Sorry. Technical difficulties. Well, how's everyone doing today? I hope you're having a wonderful time. We had a little excitement there last night at the honors and awards banquet. For those of you who were there, the fire department showed up, San Jose's finest. I think there wasn't actually a fire, but it was an exciting way to end the evening. But I want to say good morning to everyone, and thank you to Nikhil for having me here today. Thank you to all of my esteemed colleagues for the opportunity to share with you today what I think is the greatest opportunity in the display industry in my career. So, you know, welcome to the future. We're here. In my career, I've seen incredible transformations, and AI is just the latest of many things to come along, from incredible shrinks on the transistor to orders of magnitude, like 10 orders of magnitude increase in optical networking, speeds and capabilities. We're really living in the dawn of a new era where technology is not just accelerating, not just evolving, but it's also accelerating at a rapid pace. AI is just the latest of these marvels. And when we look at the humble display, again, in my career, we saw it evolve from the CRT to flexible displays today made of plasma. And as Munji said, very soon, I think we're going to see flexible quantum dot displays as well. This new epoch is accelerating, as I said, at a pace we've never seen before. In the realm of display technology, we've been on an incredible journey. If we think back to kind of where we originally started out, we had these giant billboard-sized displays. We'd get information updates on them about every month or so, maybe a little more frequently than that. And they were colossal. But as time evolved, we eventually got the television, which moved that content closer to us. It allowed us to get updates more frequently, but this was still very much a one-way conversation. So it was really in a broadcast mode only. The dawn of the information display brought us even closer to our display units, and we got more intimate with them. They learned about us through the use of things like cookies and preferences and history. Interestingly though, as the display sizes came down and they shrunk and the cost came down, we also saw the volumes skyrocket. And today, cell phone and wearable displays far outnumber televisions as we know by more than 10x. And wearables have pushed the state-of-the-art, the need for use of advanced optical design and material science to deliver the real state-of-the-art to make the high-quality images that we demand. This evolution has forced the display industry to adapt and take on more and more new fields of endeavor. Colloidal chemistry now enters the field of the display world for the first time. And there's more to come. And as you could hear from the opening remarks, over 800 paper submissions this year, indicative of this kind of incredible growth that the display industry has in the types of technologies that are going to be necessary to fuel the future. And the next big leap in display technology continues this trend. So this is my mission at Meta, to bring our display technology ever closer to us, to make it even more small, to make it more intimate and more familiar, and to deliver to us even higher perceptual image quality. So I invite you to join me on a journey into the future that we've been passionately working to bring to life for quite a while. A world in which the displays are so technologically advanced that they offer a view into the virtual realm that's as real as the actual world, indistinguishable. Envision a world where augmented reality overlays perfectly with what you see in the real world. Virtual reality blending seamlessly through the use of multiple sensors and tracking packages in the device, and augmented reality with seamless overlays of rich contextual information that allow you to have exactly what is useful for you at the time that you are there in front of your display. But also making these socially acceptable. This is a critical element that we've really got to continue to be very diligent about. How can we make these devices able to be worn all day if they look like giant helmets? But first, I'd like to take you on a quick ride through the history of the display industry. So starting back in the very early days with the invention of George Horner's zoetrope in 1833, sorry, 1833. And moving on to Edison's Vitascope in 1899, this is really all based on perceptual image science, unique things about the human visual system that we're able to use, persistence of vision and other attributes. And these were the early discoveries that really led to modern vision science. Fast forward to 1926 and we find the invention of the CRT, a technology that had been developed actually about 3 decades later, but was first deployed to displays in 26. And the technology innovation didn't stop there. In 1964, at the University of Champaign-Urbana, we saw the birthplace of the plasma display, thanks to the work of Blitzer, Sloto, and Wilson. And just 4 years later, in 1968, RCA introduced the LCD display, which boasted an amazingly high resolution of 18 by 2 pixels. Pretty incredible. And major leap forward after that to OLED in 1987. And last night we honored the inventors of the OLED with the Carl Brown Prize. So through this whole period, we've seen incredible revolution in how we exploit the human perceptual visual system. And that's what really we have to think about when we make new displays of the future. It's not just about pushing pixels, it's about how do we get that visual information onto that visual superhighway into the visual cortex. So there's two main pillars that I'd like to posit for you as far as what's really going to make this possible in this next evolution, and that is AR and VR based display technology and contextual AI. Thanks to advanced displays and contextual AI, we're moving beyond the confines of traditional 2D screens and ways in which we can engage our senses in a much more profoundly rich way. So let's talk about each of these. So as we get closer to 2030, we're going to see mixed reality displays and computational power evolve, bringing us closer to passing what we call the visual Turing test, which, just like the classic Turing test, which is a measure of how well a machine can emulate a human to the point of being indistinguishable, the visual Turing test is what we have set as our benchmark for whether or not you can determine an augmented reality or mixed reality image from an actual reality, Audio too is going to begin to continue to evolve towards near indistinguishable from where we are with our conventional hearing. AR and VR, though, are separating out a little bit. So at this point, the realm of AR display presents a number of really big challenges, especially in terms of miniaturization, power consumption, and overall thermodynamic performance. So while we're going to make good progress on this as an industry, in 2030, I don't think we'll be able to pass the visual Turing test and have a truly indistinguishable display that projects augmented reality images overlaid to our real world in a way that is completely seamless. But that's okay. I still believe this is going to create devices that have incredible utility, that are going to sell in the tens of millions of units, and are going to train us and teach us a lot about what we need to do to create those ultimate solutions. That said, while we might be a little longer out from reaching where we want to go with our AR display technologies, we are being shocked every day by the progress of advanced AI and contextual AI, far beyond our wildest dreams and imaginations. And this rapid progress is proving to be absolutely transformational for AR glasses. Over the past year alone, AI has made tremendous strides thanks to the emergence of large language models and always-on sensor technologies that we can embed into things like augmented reality glasses that make these large language models and AI models contextually aware. This is going to provide a tremendous opportunity both for AR to be further adapted using these context-rich means of interacting with the world, but also will enhance the proliferation of AI into our daily usage, where we don't have to go and fetch our AI out of our pocket. It's just going to be there and present with us, ultimately creating this very low friction opportunity for us to interact with the digital realm. So what are, some examples of this? Well, this game-changing development in AI actually doesn't even require a display that passed the visual Turing test. I firmly believe that contextual AI represents the future of AR and VR. And although time constraints prevent me from delving deeper into this, allow me to share one video with you that shows the power of contextual AI.
Hey, Meta.
Hey, Meta.
Hey, Meta. Look at this building and tell me about it.
Look and translate this.
Look at this and tell us what to make.
Look and tell me what kind of butterfly that is.
That appears to be a painted lady.
When we launched, skipped one ahead there. When we launched Ray-Ban Stories, the response was modest, leaving us questioning the viability of this category of smart glasses. But despite this uncertainty, we pressed on and we launched Ray-Ban Metas. And this year, everything has changed. This device, thanks to contextual AI and the integration of this on board, has really hit a home run. The product is sold out, and it's really demonstrated product market fit for this category. And here's the kicker. This device doesn't even have a display. It just communicates using auditory modality. And AI can be so transformative here that the display isn't even necessary. Imagine what we can do when we put that high-speed visual communication channel into the device. So what would it be like to make such a device? Let's explore this a little bit. So it all starts with the human visual cortex. You see, the human eye is a marvel of nature. Armed with over 100 million rods and cones, it's capable of a whopping 10 megabits per second of visual communication straight to the brain. Our brain's ultimate cosmic computer can decode this information in luminance, spanning 5 orders of magnitude, adapt to over 22 f-stops of dynamic range. That's the brightness of a sun to the darkness of a cage, which I feel like I'm in right now between these lights shining on me and how dark you all are out there. But when we add binocular vision to the mix, we add other sensory modalities that we have, it's like strapping rockets to our perception, allowing us to discern depth, motion, derive understanding of the world on a near instantaneous basis. In our natural world, all of these senses are intertwined in a symphony of perception. Even our auditory senses are enhanced by the visual pathway, as seen in the McGurk effect.
Take a look at this and listen. What do you hear? But look what happens when we change the video. And yet, the sound is the same. Just the videos have changed. In every clip, you are only hearing ba with a B. It's an illusion known as the McGurk effect. Pay attention to the right of the screen first. Next, concentrate on the left of the screen. The auditory illusion happens because what you are seeing clashes with what you are hearing. What we see overrides what we hear.
Thank you to Ajit, Neenan on my team for being the head model for that. So as we can see with this kind of interplay of our senses, we really need to start thinking a little bit differently about how we make displays in the future. So this is why this understanding is crucial. Sorry, I lost the speaker notes. Thank you. As an industry, we've seen our visual experience revolve around 4 primary axes, right? Resolution, color, frame rate, and dynamic range. And these have been great. We've been able to refine these over a period of 50 years. We've got great metrology on them. We can understand them. We all speak a common language as far as they go. But these measures of a 2D display barely are sufficient, as we've seen in some of the emerging work, for example, on color volume. We now begin to see that these things interact due to effects like the HK effect, where a more saturated display appears to be brighter to the eye, which is a uniquely human perceptual phenomena. And so we can make use of that when we make displays, as we've seen in the QD OLED, for example, which has very sharp primaries, and it has this very, very different appearance, despite the luminance maybe not being any brighter than a comparable LCD-based display. So as we venture into this brave new world of bringing displays ever closer and needing to really think about how we use the human perceptual system, we need some new measures and metrics. And to truly revolutionize this and engage our senses in a profoundly richer way, we suggest that we need to really be looking at wider fields of view, because the human perceptual system is really very, very wide. Delve into the perception of binocular stereo representations, latency and low latency, 6 degrees of freedoms, and solutions for the divergence accommodation problem, which is basically depth. With the advent of the binocular head-mounted display, we're entering uncharted territory where there's no established criteria for these things. And these 9 factors not only define image quality, but also visual comfort, which is incredibly important. If you mess this up, People will get headaches, they'll get sick. We don't want to see that because this is such an incredible modality for the future of display and how we interact with the digital realm. It's super important that we're all committed to making a great visual experience, not just a great display that we slap on a pair of glasses and put on a face. Because if we're not, this could completely hinder the adoption of this wonderful technology. At Meta, we're very committed to this. We have a large team of people really studying the science of visual perception and how this affects our complete system of how we interact with information. So that brings me to kind of thinking about these not just as displays, but as really perception systems or perceptual displays. And our ultimate goal is to align the display system with the full human perceptual reality. Our ambitions in this world transcend both AR and VR, and we want to really make sure that if we execute this correctly, these become an enhancement of our way we perceive the world. But our mission isn't just stopping there. It's critically important as well that we make these in a fashion that they can be socially acceptable so people can use them without being embarrassed walking around having these on their face all day. So to gain insight, we construct a bunch of perceptual demos. This wall kind of shows all sorts of different things. A lot of these really built around how you investigate one particular modality, but as we've seen, these interact. And so the studies of these interaction spaces between different things like field of view and resolution become very important in order to be able to create something that passes our visual Turing test. But remember, these are just prototypes, and the path to full capability really relies on bringing these things to market. Now, fortunately, we are building products at Meta, and we're not just envisioning the future, we're actively building it. So for example, moving from our Quest 2 platform to our Quest 3 platform, we made a number of really revolutionary steps here. We improved the form factor and resolution using pancake optics. We didn't stop there. We intricately designed the full mixed reality system to be able to create the seamless blending of our physical and digital worlds, not just with the display, but also with audio, also with all the other sensor packages that go in this product. And so this really shows that the future is within our grasp. These types of products really are demonstrating where we can go with these technologies. But if we think about putting these into a pair of ordinary glasses, we've really got to rethink things, right? Because the form factor restrictions are completely different. If we think about the displays we use every day, we've got a flat slab, maybe occasionally a round slab that you put on your wrist. But this is really different than what we need to do for these types of devices. This is the most important thing as far as social acceptability. What you put on your face is how you get perceived out there in the world. And so in order to build a fully functioning perceptual machine into such a small package is really no easy feat. The state of the technology is not quite there today. I'm going to talk about where it is, but we need to continue to evolve it together so that we can realize this vision of being able to blend the digital and real world together in a seamless fashion. So, how do you construct such a display? Well, it's interesting. If I asked 10 experts, I'd get 10 different opinions, and that's just from probably one of them. So, this is really about how do you trade off between these different parameters. So, for example, let's think about field of view and resolution, right? So, we could, for example, look at the human visual field shown here in the graph on the left, and this is the current state of the art for consumer VR. Now, why is that? Why do we have such narrow fields of view compared to our wide visual perception system? Well, simply put, it's an over-constrained problem. Now, regrettably, we've got, basically the ability to see in high resolution throughout our visual field, and if we just brute force this and put high resolution pixels across 220 degrees of field of view, the device would blow up, both in terms of power and size and everything else, and this just really isn't a viable way to go. So how can we do this? How can we improve the SWaP-C? How can we reduce the needs for using so much power all the time? Are there unique things about the human visual system that we can take into account? Well, in point of fact, there are. So the human field of view is actually pretty limited. So we have a central region called the foveated region, which, despite the fact that our visual field spans 220 degrees, is pretty narrow. And so rather than trying to build an 8 or 16K resolution display per eye, what we can do is we can make use of this information that the center region where our eye is looking needs to be high resolution, and the rest of it can be lower resolution, can be updated less frequently, and we can make use of that to save power. But how would you do that? I mean, does that work? Well, let me just give you a little demonstration just for a little fun. So I'm going to demonstrate this phenomena, so play along. Fix your eyes on this black dot in the center. Now, I'm going to count to 3, and I want you to keep your eyes focused on that black dot. And there'll be a quiz afterwards. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, how many black dots did you see? Seth? 3? 3's not uncommon. Anybody else? 5? Anyone? Somebody cheated. So, yeah, in point of fact, there's 13, right? So this is an example of the foveated region, right? Your eye's only really able to pay attention to that detail in the middle, right? And there's tons of these kinds of fun things you can do on the internet and do them with your kids, and they'll get a kick out of it. But basically, this is an example of how we can perhaps use that foveated information to render content where we need to have it and at the resolution that we need to have it at. Now, how would we do that? Well, we need to know where you're looking, so this brings up the need for eye tracking. Now, it turns out our eyes do all kinds of weird things in order to create this incredible perception that we have of 220 degrees field of view. They do something, for example, called saccades, where they move very quickly, up to 700 degrees a second. So keeping track of where your eye is looking and where the center of the pupil is, because if we locate the center of the pupil, then we know where the fovea is based on the eye geometry. But this is really tough. And we can't trade this off. We can't have a super high power eye tracking system that consumes all our battery and takes a bunch of space, because we were trying to save all that by using, reducing the power of the display system. So again, evolution in all of these systems is necessary, providing huge opportunities for us throughout the display industry. Let's take a moment to see what's commercially viable in the world of AR today. Unlocking the advancements, as I said earlier, our Meta Ray-Ban glasses launched this past summer, really showcasing what we can do with contextual AI. In fact, I'm wearing these glasses right now, so y'all should smile. Okay, perfect. I'll put that on my Instagram later. These are not glasses that anyone would look at me and say, wow, that guy, he looks weird, right? They're styled in the normal Ray-Ban form factor. So I can interact with the world. I can ask Meta questions about what I'm looking at. I can get contextual AI information. I can translate things dynamically into the audio that's over the ear. I can do conversational focus, which means I can enhance the audio of someone who I'm looking at. All of these things are possible today in this tiny little hardware package that's lightweight and I can put on my face. So if we can just get to the next level of putting displays into these things, already these have demonstrated, as I said earlier, incredible product market fit. So it's no surprise that we're trying to do that at Meta. And on my team, that's our mission. Now, our North Star remains a true perceptual display system where we have that ability to seamlessly blend the real and virtual worlds, passing our visual Turing test. Today, the first products are limited in terms of what the technology constraints are and what we're going to be able to bring to market. But it's ripe with opportunities to continue to improve in this area. And this is really going to be about defining the next display industry. The recent surge in AI significantly amplifies this value of this space. If we were looking for a killer app, we have it. And contextual AI is really going to provide that and fuel further investment in innovation, in growth, and ultimately pave the way for these AR perceptual displays and systems that'll be delivered in the billions of units, creating immersive experiences with advanced features and being all-day wearable. So without a doubt, we're on a mission to incorporate that. So what's possible today? Well, doing a survey of all the technologies that are out there, and there's a lot of things in play, the only thing that's really viable to bring into commercial production at the moment is using diffractive waveguides and a so-called pupil replicating waveguide architecture. And so when we look at this, how does this work? We've got basically an entry light source, a projector system, and a combiner. Those are the two main elements. And so by bringing the display render through the opening of the light engine into the pupil of the waveguide, we're able to create a replication of that image across the eye box so that no matter where your eye is relative to the waveguide, you still see the same image. This is great because it accommodates all the different sizes and shapes of our faces, and so one pair of glasses can be worn by multiple people. But these displays and this system is really inefficient, and so there's a tremendous opportunity to improve this. There's also all sorts of other interesting visual artifacts, I'll call them interesting, that you get with these things, and ways that we need to mitigate those, again, present a lot of opportunities. So for these waveguides to reach widespread adoption, we've really got to resolve many of these issues, such as when we increase the field of view, we see our MTF go down, we see the overall rainbow effects start to emerge, we see ghosts in the field, and we have big problems with uniformity. So lots of opportunities here for research, for development, and for ultimately commercialization. When we think about light engines, the other key part of this, at Meta we're exploring a wide range of these, ranging from LCOS technology, which is fairly mature and available today, to emerging technologies like micro-LED, and where we ultimately believe we'll need to go with laser scanning, just because of the much higher efficiencies that we can get from the system. And while micro-LED holds promise, there's still significant challenges, especially things like red, small pixel performance across various different types of LED technologies. So again, lots of opportunities here, and the market is ready. AI has created the opportunity for us, and we really just need to step up our game. That's my call to all of you, because I would love to use some wonderful red micro LEDs if anybody has any. I'm sure I'll get 1,000 calls after this. And this is really what we need in order to entertain these higher field of view displays. But for now, LCOS is ready. It's limited by pixel size, but it will be used, I'm sure, a lot in the industry because it's a proven technology and can be ramped into high volumes. And when we think about how these ultimately need to go together, there's a lot of other elements in here as well. Of course, they've got to be glasses, so I've got to have lenses on them that can accommodate the virtual image distance. Shouldn't be at infinity, it should be at some kind of comfortable distance. I need to accommodate prescription. I need to deal with other things that might happen, like vertical disparity. The difference in the placement of the image between the two eyes is something we're very, very sensitive to. So all of this has to be combined together into a complex eyepiece with a compact light engine, eye tracking modules, and other things. This requires advancements as well in our way that we do assemblies and precision assemblies of display systems, as well as how we do test. So we've journeyed through a vast landscape today, and as I draw to a close, let me take a moment to reflect. We've explored the state of the art and our new realities, virtual reality and augmented reality. As a collective, we're making significant strides towards the next evolution in display, transitioning from a seamless 2D, from 2D displays into perceptually seamless display systems. The fusion of AI with MR is also set to create a generational opportunity for transformation of display technology and how people use it in their daily lives to really interact with the digital world. This is a complex challenge and it requires deep understanding ranging from material science through computational physics, all the way to incredible electro-optic engineering. And all of this, though, is, as I said, creating what I believe to be the greatest display opportunity of my career. Now, am I sure about all of this? You might be wondering. No, of course not. I can't be sure about my predictions here. This is far too vast of a space. We need to explore it, experimentally. It demands empirical work. But remember, the future isn't just something that happens. It's something that's a result of incredibly talented people working very hard, doing extraordinary work. And our actions will determine whether or not whether or not this vision becomes a reality. So in closing, I'd like to quote Alan Kay, who was the pioneer of the modern graphical user interface, recipient of the 2003 Turing Award, who once said, "The best way to predict the future is to invent it." So I invite all of you to join me on this exciting journey. Let's roll up our sleeves, let's push the boundaries, and let's invent the future together. Thank you very much.